Hello guys, welcome and welcome back. This channel is shared and run by two sisters, so I'll be your host, Star. Rise up, y'all. It's motherfucking spooky season, and to start off this beautiful and haunting time, let me share some recs of my most recent horror read. So let's get started because I got a lot to say. The Closet, running for 3 issues, we see Tom moving cross-country with his family. His son, Jamie, is seeing monsters in his bedroom closet, and while Tom reassures him that after moving the monsters in the closet would disappear, he was wrong and the monsters continue to haunt his son. While not being a terrifying read, The Closet is able to check the boxes of what makes up a basic scary story, and what a typical scary story can do. A mystery, a monster, and how that impacts the characters, and escalates the tension, and a suspenseful and unsettling tone. And in regards to the art, it's clean and simplistic, and that's enough to create a monster design that's effective to convey Jamie's fear. And on top of that, the dark and dull colors highlights the despair Tom faces or the abandonment Jamie experiences, which amplifies the fear they and the audience faces as the story progresses. Although we follow Tom, his son steals the show as he's being neglected in regards to his trauma to this monster that he sees at bedtime. Tom will complain and complain about how this is affecting him, which makes you want to slap him in the face out of frustration. But at the very least, he becomes a little bit more self-aware of his own self-centeredness later on in the story. But that really isn't enough to forgive him for not believing or at least doing more to help his son's fear. It's a frustrating and accurate portrayal that the real horror comes within rather than these scary monsters, that we create our own demise, like we set up our own downfall, and that's also or even more terrifying than any monsters that is out there. The story focuses more on conversations Tom has in regards to moving and his son's monster closet fear than on an outwardly terrifying and horrific situation. I'm praising it for its realness and how reflective it is of our real world. How Jamie doesn't receive any help or is at least believed by both his parents, or how his parents are constantly arguing and aren't in a good place in marriage. Because surprise, surprise, it's not rocket science to figure out that Jamie's family situation is a cause of his fears, not just metaphorically, but literally, as it is the shadow of his dad in the closet that forms this monster he continues to see afterward. It's that realisticness or relatability-ness that makes it scary to think about, but other than that, it's alright. Expect familial and internal conflicts, distress, night terrors, etc. If that's up your alley, like horror that isn't in your face scary and requires a bit of thinking, and you got like 10 minutes, go ahead and give this a read. 3.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on. Death follows Birdie, her little sister, her pregnant mother, and her father, who's having trouble with his hands, living on a farm. They're alone until a temp hire named Cole comes to the farm for some much needed money. He'll work for cheap and follow the rules the father put out without any complaints, mostly. And while this should relieve the family's home and farm troubles, Birdie instantly gets a bad vibe from Cole, and boy, oh my God, was she right. From him looking back as he walks, his creepy smile, how his eyes follows her when they're near one another, or from the way that he talks. Unlike The Closet, Death Follows is outwardly in-your-face horror, from exaggerated facial expressions, blood and gore, and this mystery of the dead rising. Oh yeah, dead corpses from animals to bodies come alive, and the suspicion of Cole rises as who is he? What is going on? What horror did he bring with him? And how does his secrets continue to follow him around? This is a 1-issue story, quite long, but a very good read with great art. If you don't read much horror, the zombies could be, I guess, scary enough, but the true horrifying moment is the reveal at the end. I urge you to read first because I will spoil it right now. So skip to the timestamp to move past this point, because I think out of every story here, this ending was the most intriguing. Okay, the ending. After her father can sense how scared Birdie is of Cole, he does ask him to leave. While they all think he leaves and is understanding about that, he really wasn't. When they, Birdie and her younger sister, arrive back home from school to find the house empty, the girls are met by Cole, who is very upset with Birdie, but after a very heated argument, he pushes her out a window, kills her younger sister, knees her mother in the belly, and fights her father when they eventually come home. This secret that follows Cole are dead little girls he has killed in the past. They take the revenge, and as they leave, Birdie's younger, now dead sister follows, and they all disappear. Look, I am not doing this ending justice. Just go and read it truly for yourself, because it is truly the most intense, heartbreaking, and best moment out of the entire comic. This is a chilling, dreadful, well-told horror/paranormal story that is hard to put down. Like, you want to put it down as it progresses, even during the ending, from how sad it is, but you just don't. Or at least I didn't. It's intriguing and horrifying. Check it out. It's literally straightforward. 5 out of 5 stars. The Number is a wordless, confusing, and tense read. Like, I had to read it twice to just fully understand and absorb what I was reading, because like I mentioned, it is wordless. The only text shown are from tattoos, newspapers, and various numbers the main character sees throughout his life. Speaking of numbers, the story starts off with a prison guard clearing up a cell of a prisoner who was just executed. He comes across a slip of paper filled with a bunch of numbers that end up consuming his life as he descends into madness. Since these numbers correlate to things in his life that he comes across, such as seeing part of the number on a dog's ear, or seeing some of the numbers match a marathon champion's number that he had during a race. And so the numbers eventually help him later on to win big at a casino and give him good luck. But it's really disguised as luck or as a blessing that he came across the numbers. While it's not original, though that is definitely not a con, just something to point out, the wordless and black and white scratchy art style help emphasize that growing descent and predictable yet well executed ending. I picked this story up because it was highly praised, not only for the way the author chose to depict the story, but because of how scary I was told it is, how people were scared to read on, or how it haunted them afterwards. And while I did think about the story long after I read it, I wasn't as scared or anxious as I thought it would be. I even read it at night, almost 1 a.m. to be exact, and I read it twice, like I said. Look, I'm not saying it is not scary at all just because it didn't keep me up at night. No way. This story is pretty haunting, but I say this in case you were thinking about whether or not to pick it up. I at least wasn't overwhelmed with what I read. It's quick, like a 2-minute or so read. The end is predictable, but the journey to the end is enjoyable or insightful to see as we get inside the mind of this guard and the good and the bad impact these numbers have on him. Check it out if you can. 3 out of 5 stars. And now we are reaching the end with a banger of a story. Beautiful Darkness. Beautiful Darkness is a beautiful and very unsettling story. While in the middle of a get-together, what was supposed to be a special moment for Aurora turned horrid when her and her neighbors' homes come down on top of them. And it isn't until they run away that it's revealed they lived in a decaying corpse in the middle of the woods. A very disturbing start to the story. The colorful, textured, painted art, though contrasts the expected tone of the story, further brings intrigue to what might occur next. As the story is filled with gluttony, greed, jealousy, manipulation, and death. It is relentlessly grim and grotesque with every page. These creatures, whatever they are put into an unknown world, but with hope that everything will be okay. And as the story continues, it evolves into madness, and even the good among them won't survive, not only because of what this world has to offer, but also what their own people are capable of doing while trying to survive, and just also for their own amusement. Look, I am praising it, and it's very much deserved, but I won't tell you to read it without knowing that you will be left confused. The setup doesn't get explained, and the ending is very unsatisfactory in terms of explaining the world that they're living in and who these creatures are themselves. But when you actually read the story, you might be satisfied when knowing that characters, maybe specifically characters that you would not like, getting certain endings that are satisfactory to not only the main character, but also to the reader. But other than that, I had an interesting time reading it, and I think you will too. Just let me spotlight some of these panels right now, because oh my fucking god. If this does not convince you just to check it out, then I give up then. I don't know, but definitely read it. 4.5 out of 5 for me. And there we have it. What a beautiful and haunting sight. What did you think of the Rex, and what would you suggest for my next horror read? Put it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. It truly means a lot. Check out our Halloween horror scary content across both this commentary review channel and our art channel in the playlist linked down below. And yeah, that's it. Jen and I see you in another video. Have an amazing day. Peace. Bye guys. And remember, stay a kid at heart.